Miss Hattie, we're live now.
Okay. Well, hello, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for joining in. Um, this is about Lennon Town, and basically, it was a community that was erased in the 60s. Athens, the city of Athens, and UGA entered into a contract that led to the erasure of Lennon Town. We're talking about race and justice, and we have come together and been able to come together as a committee to work through avenues to atonement. So we are a good working team. So with that, I want to introduce Linda. Linda, will you say hello? She's taking Freddie's place on this team. So she's our new member on the Justice and Memory team. So with that, what we normally do is give a moment of silence. So we will go ahead now and give a moment of silence for the Leonardtown members, deceased members. Moment of silence. Thank you. Okay, Bobby and Christine, you all are
Yes.
on. Okay, so
Yes.
Shayla, would you go
Yes.
ahead and call roll? I don't know if Charlene is on.
I'm here.
Oh, go ahead, Charlene, call roll.
All right. So Miss Hattie Whitehead,
Mm-hmm.
Christine Davis Johnson,
Yes.
Bobby Crook,
Yeah.
and Miss Linda, what's your last name?
Can you hear us, Linda? You can't hear us. Her name is Thomas. Her last name is Thomas.
Thomas, Linda Thomas. Okay, I just wanted to include. Okay, so Linda Thomas is here. Mariah Parker, Mike Canby, Jennifer Rice, Charlene Marsh. Sorry, I have the minutes pulled up, so I'm not looking at faces.
Okay. I see.
Okay.
Kelly Gertz,
Here.
Crystal Colbrin, Blaine Williams,
Blaine is
Shayla,
Blaine is-
Shayla Lee,
Here.
Allison Kay,
Here.
and Geneva Johnson Eberhardt. Okay. All right. Would you like me to move forward in reading the last minutes?
Yes.
Or the last meeting minutes? Okay. So these minutes are from the Monday, January 25th meeting. We began with the moment of silence for Leonardtown descendants. Then attendance was taken. Then there was a reading of the last meeting minutes, and there was a motion to approve the minutes by Commissioner Mariah Parker, and it was seconded by Mayor Kelly Gertz. Next, we had a discussion on the revised resolution that was presented, and the notes included are that Ms. Hattie Whitehead, upon reception of the legal team's review and feedback, had the committee tasked with drafting the resolution, adjusted formatting, and the first descendants wished to move forward with the resolution as it was. At that time, Mayor Gertz planned to have the resolution placed on the March agenda for the Athens-Clarke County Commission meeting. Then we had an open discussion. There was a friendly amendment that was proposed by Commissioner Hamby, and it was to change Section 8 to read, upon adoption of the resolution, the mayor of Athens-Clarke County shall deliver copies of this resolution. And this amendment was proposed for sake of significance and creation of a direct route to stakeholders listed. And the friendly amendment was accepted. Then we had a vote to approve the resolution as it stood. And this motion to approve the resolution was made by Jennifer Rice and seconded by Bobby Crook, and the resolution was unanimously approved. And the meeting adjourned at 4:49 p.m.
Okay.
So I guess we usually
entertain a motion to accept the minutes in a second. I can make the first motion to accept the minutes. Anyone, any second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, we've got another set of minutes for the record. Thank you.
Okay, I want to go ahead and say that we had the proclamation approved proclamation, which included an apology. I just want to thank the mayor again for the proclamation and the apology. We had a ceremony on the courthouse steps. We didn't widely publicize it because of the virus. So, but it was really, really nice. It was really nice and moving. It really was. So I appreciate everybody who attended to that, to listen to that and be a part of that. And I want to thank everybody for the hard work to getting us to the point where we are now. It took a lot of hard work. So thanks everybody for being diligently and being at the work that we were doing and being a part of that. Okay, I'm going to deviate from the agenda because we have got to get the information to be a part, information that's needed on our recommendations to be a part of the budget of the City of Athens budget. And I understand that we need to have that in somewhere in first part of May. Is that correct, Mayor?
Yeah, it'll be ultimately approved the first Tuesday in June. And what's always beneficial is if sort of any recommendations that get baked into the budget sort of back up from that. The earlier the better, but certainly even if there's a sort of scale of need and, you know, we go into the next fiscal year thinking, okay, well, $20,000 or $30,000 is necessary to achieve what we want. And we don't have all the final details worked out, even if we have sort of a lump sum allocation in the same way that we went into the current fiscal year, I think with a $20,000 allocation to support urban renewal recognition.
Okay. Will the economist where are you on that, Mayor? So we'll know about where the economist is going to be a part of, are they already working on something? The economist.
I haven't found anyone yet to engage with. I think Jennifer and I, a few months ago, had a very brief conversation about this. And I think we still need to identify ultimately somebody who could do that analysis on campus. I think there are some people, I don't have any doubt that there's somebody locally who's expert in that way.
Okay. Okay, because what we had done, what I was trying to do, team, is once we talk about the different categories tonight that I've already talked to about the project team, I've already got their input. We're gonna put percentages by these categories until we have the number. We're going to allocate percentages up to 100% until we have the information from the economist. I don't know how else to do it. So unless somebody have another good recommendation that we all can understand, we're going to do that. Is that acceptable to everybody? Yay and nay?
It's acceptable to me.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And we need to talk about this tonight because what I'm going to have to do is get a subgroup together to write up a description of what we're talking about. So when it goes to the mayor commissions, they can look at this description and understand what we're talking about so they can make a good judgment decision on how to vote. So I was going to put a subgroup together to get all of these written up So, and then they have to go by, I think they have to go to legal, and legal have to look at them and approve them. And then we'll have to get back together.
Okay. And Ms. Hattie, looking at those categories that are written in the agenda, what might be helpful as a starting point, and Crystal may be able to be a helpful liaison here, is to get a kind of current snapshot of efforts in each of those categories.
Yes.
And then some opportunities that are on tap. I'll share the way the budget prep works. There are a bunch of elements of the budget in progress that I haven't even seen yet that
Okay.
are coming from department heads. And so
Okay.
I don't even know what transit has proposed, for example, at this point in the game.
Okay. All right then. Well, we're going to start with a description, and then once we put some words around this description, then we can get with legal, and we can get with Crystal as well. Okay. Okay, the first one we had is affordable housing, and we understand that this may hit up against the gratuity clause, so that's why we need to get with legal. But we wanted to, around affordable housing, what we were going to propose is to provide a down payment to individuals that want to have a path to home ownership but cannot afford the down payment. We were going to try to do that with a cap on the amount of money. We don't know if we can do that or not, but that was what we have listed on here under affordable housing. Another one is enable families to improve standards of living with rent deposit. If a family is stuck in a bad living condition and can't move out because of deposit, we were going to see, can we help with that situation with paying a realtor their deposit? And that might go up against the gratuity clause. We don't know. The third one was to make needed house repairs for senior homeowners. We have seniors that are homeowners that cannot afford have repairs in certain zip codes, the low income. So we think that one might pass if we hook up with a contractor. So that's one.
We do fund a couple programs exactly like that. One through Action Incorporated, and then one through Historic Athens.
Okay.
And I'll share that while those are both expandable programs, one of the things that we do run up against is that if you have an expenditure, I believe it's over $5,000, that then kicks in, particularly in older neighborhoods, some remediation requirements around things like asbestos. So if you spend more than $5,000 on a project, then you've got to buy, and I think this is by state law, do asbestos remediation. And so generally speaking, as I understand it, both Historic Athens through their Hands-on Athens program and then Action Incorporated through their home repair program kind of use $5,000 buckets. But those are both programs that we could expand in terms of the number of projects done every year.
Okay. Thank you.
Can I say something about that one? You know, my mother had experienced that, and I know when you said that about helping with the house repairs, I was just wondering because I knew that she was able to get windows at one time, and but the mayor just answered the question about, you know, being able to work this in also, because I was just wondering if you always had a program about housing repairs and things for senior citizens and stuff like that.
Yes.
Okay.
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 Okay. The next one is a telecommunication service. We want to, in some zip codes in low income areas, families and homes don't have high speed internet or Wi-Fi. So we wanted to be able to enable those families to have high speed internet and Wi-Fi in some low income areas. So that was the one on the telecommunications the committee is recommending. And we have to have a description around that. So that's what one of the subcommittee group members are going to do that. The next one is any questions or anybody want to add to those? I'm sorry, I didn't ask earlier.
I'll share. While this pandemic has been really tough on all of us in a bunch of ways, um, just in the last week, the American Rescue Plan Act has passed and been signed by the president. And one of the designated allowable expenditures for local government of the funds that come through that package is exactly this area. So I certainly anticipate we'll be able to see some of that happen sooner rather than later.
That's what I heard that, but I didn't know sooner. I didn't know how it would hit before the school year and all that. I heard about that, but I didn't know.
Yeah, the funds that we'll be receiving have to be spent by the end of 2024. And so in local government terms and institutional terms, that's relatively soon. So we're glad for that.
Okay. Okay. Economic development. I mean, any more discussion around those two or anything you want to add before I move on to economic development? Economic development, we put down income equity for Athens-Clarke County employees, $15 an hour minimum wage. We didn't know whether that would run up against anything or not, but we just put it there for economic development.
And on that, I can give you a little bit of data because I pulled some data just a week ago. And so Athens-Clarke County has about 1,700 employees. And as of right now, at least, there are only 21 of those that are making under $30,000 a year.
Okay.
Or and roughly $30,000 a year is about $15 an hour. So we're just about there, and so I'm excited to have gotten to that point. And one of the things that we're actively working on right now is some of our partner organizations that are state agencies like the library system that have a pay scale underneath ours. We're trying to lift up to where ours are. So the work continues, but just a little snapshot of where we are right now in Athens.
Okay. And also under here, we put the Black History Center. We don't have one here in Athens. So we put that down and we're trying to find out the information to help us to describe that in a description that goes to the mayor and commissioners. Any questions? Feedback? Input? Okay. The transportation, we had put down emergencies. In talking to Athens Tech College, they were talking about they only had a need for emergencies when someone is on the way, the students on the way to the school or on their way home and car breakdown. And so they were thinking that they was asking, could we do something around Uber passes? Because the bus transportation is good if you live within the bus transit system, but sometimes they cannot, even if they have if the car break down or they need to get to class. That's the only thing that they had a concern with. So we put that down. But all these has to be worked on and discussed and talked about. And then the last one is public art. We put the wall of recognition. The wall of recognition is the walls of recognition that we have been talking about and have been planning to put down on Finley. And Jennifer has been working on that, but we needed to, and I think with that one, we have a point where we need to move forward on it, but that is under public art. So those are the things that that we had put down, the team had put down, the Leonardtown project team, that we were going to discuss with this team. But I just want to know where you all are and if you want to add something, because I need to go back and work with putting a description around these things. But before that, we got to talk with the legal staff around and get some clarification around affordable housing. So input.
So I have a question about, I guess it's kind of a suggestion as well. And Kelly, feel free to jump in because it's more of like a policy question. So just kind of connected to exactly what happened to the families of Leonardtown and how they got pushed out and like were forced, to either move out of Athens or find some type of housing that was less affordable than what they had before. I'm wondering if another potential like policy recommendation for the budget could be some type of controls when it comes to like private developments or that are like occurring near existing neighborhoods and such. Don't know if anyone can. I don't know if that has been a conversation in Athens in the past. I'm sure it has, but like, is that something that could be further explored?
Yeah, we actually have a group that sort of did the first phase of its work that's about to enter the second phase. And so the work broadly we called inclusionary zoning. And so for those not familiar with that idea, it's generally the idea that local government would incentivize people to create some affordable units within any new development at all. And the first phase of this work was done by our planning commission. And so about, I guess, where are we, March now? 5 months ago or thereabouts, they issued a report with several recommendations. And they were broad recommendations that didn't have the specific code language in them that ultimately we'd want. So that, again, kind of the first phase of work, the more general phase. The more specific work is just now starting with a small working group that's a couple affordable housing providers, a couple county commissioners, actually including Commissioner Parker, who's also on this body, and a couple of planning commissioners. And what they're going to be doing is then kind of going into the final phase where they're going to make some recommendations about how we launch that inclusionary zoning plan, where any new development would, in partnership with the county, be incentivized to provide some permanently affordable unit. So that overlaps in pretty strong way with this, and this is bigger area history, but an interesting kind of parallel to Athens is our larger neighbor to the west, Atlanta. So Atlanta, starting in the mid 90s, deconstructed all of their public housing units. And unfortunately, what happened in Atlanta's, last 25 years deconstruction of their public housing is that, you got some attractive new areas like East Lake, for example, is a good example of that. But what ended up happening because of this reconstruction is continued displacement. And so you like Skillet and other areas, people ended up far flung from where you could walk to the grocery store, where you could see your cousin, and those sorts of things.
So we know that low-income housing is a problem in Athens. We know this, and the low-income areas now, people can afford them, but they're not. Maybe some of them are not at the standard they need to be. So this is what we are saying, that we want to be able to go in and help people, especially if they're seniors, to get their house up to a standard, even if it's in a low-income area. And it's almost impossible from what people tell me, to buy a house in Athens because of it's overpriced. It's overpriced. People just cannot afford it. So they move out of Athens because of this reason. So our landscape in Athens is currently changing really fast. In areas where affordable housing is, people are buying those houses up. And developers are buying them up and building all kind of different kind of size houses and the way they look and all that. So And some of that we can't help because these developers have deep pockets, and they come in and buy up these properties and sell them for exorbitant amount of money that people cannot afford. Um, and the problem with Town is, back to you, Charlene, is that when we moved out, there were no banks to help us. There was no banks, nobody lined up to help. And even if they had a bank, we probably would have failed a lot below the loan amount and the earnings amount. So we wouldn't have probably qualified. Isn't that right? I mean, speak up, Bobby and Christine and Linda. I mean,
well, you're right. You know, we didn't voluntarily move. We had to move.
yeah, but
It was, you know, and we were just pushed out, and we didn't have the resources, we didn't have the finances, we didn't have no guidance, nobody there to, you know, sort of help us along. We here for you. We can do this. We can do that. We didn't have none of that at the time. We didn't have it.
mm-mm. So, you know, I don't know where we're going to get into Athens. I mean, I don't know how to do it. You know, it's a lot, but people, if we can, and when we're talking about affordable housing, that's what we were talking about. People would move to avenues of home ownership if they could. But you know, we are a small group, and to go to the banking institution and to have something carved out is probably not going to happen. But our landscape will continue to change because people cannot afford the the cost. I mean, they could afford it over a long period of time, like our parents did in Town. You know, they put money together after a period of time and got financing from not the bank, but from people in the neighborhood that in the community that would loan that kind of money to a family that could eventually pay it back. Charlene, did that help a lot? I mean, I can't. Pete and I've been going on and on about this, but we
No,
just
it helped. Yeah, it was just like a more so a policy question that I had, because like I've definitely like heard you talk about this before, just that element of like being pushed out, and then there's also like the racial discrimination in the housing market that your parents experience as well, on top of like the economic disadvantages. So definitely understand. Just wanted to ask that policy question because I didn't want to like try to reinvent the wheel. Just wanted
yeah,
to hear if that had already been a discussion in Athens-Clarke County.
yes. I wish we had a way that families that are living here could stay and improve where they are, or either improve in the neighborhood where they are so they wouldn't have to leave. But we're experiencing right now is, you know, people are moving out because of the cost of living to live in the Athens-Clarke County.
Yeah, and we have those couple of programs. I think we can expand those, and I think we can bring some more tools to the box too.
Okay.
We have this body called the Land Bank Authority that has not done a lot of work, but we think could do more work in this area to
Mhm.
really lock up some of the existing properties that are totally unoccupied.
Right.
You know, you can go through many neighborhoods in this town, and there are vacant lots where there maybe used to be a house, or where there's a house that's in disrepair that's boarded up. And what I would like us to do is use that land bank authority to lock up those properties for local residents, rather than have those come into the portfolio of, you know, developers who are just going to make money, because we don't have a profit incentive as local government. You know, we just have a humanitarian incentive.
Right.
And then another piece that I'll mention is that we've now for 2 years asked our local delegation of the General Assembly, so that is our 2 state senators and 3 state representatives, to put in place a tool that Fulton County uses, wherein if you're at 150% of the federal poverty level, so you don't have to be right at poverty, but you know, a bit above that, that your taxes would freeze as long as that income level remains true for you. And
Okay.
and so as recently as Friday, I had a conversation with local State House representative, asking that this get pushed forward. And we see that as sort of an anti-gentrification effort, a way
Yeah.
for people to be able to stay in your neighborhood, even if you don't make a lot of money, but somebody buys the house next door to you for 10 times what your dad might have bought the house for.
Right. It won't push your taxes up. Yeah. Okay.
That's right.
Okay. All right then. So when I get these together, get a description to what we are saying it is, and it's from what I hear you saying, Ed, we need to have it in there sometimes this first part of April, sometime then that part, so we can get it to you all. We're going to assign percentages with it, and then when the economist comes up with her figure, then we'll put those actual dollars into play. Okay, is that good for everybody?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. But first, I got to meet with the city, the legal staff to see on their first two upon affordable housing. And then we got to take into a consideration where UGA is. We got to say the UGA is got to be responsible for some of this as well. Okay, it's not all on the city of Athens. I might have to write them a letter to let them know what portion that they're going to be responsible for. But they are responsible. Agreeable? Nobody.
Yeah. Yeah, I can remember, they coming in, digging holes, deep ditches that we had to literally jump over just to leave the house and jump back over to come back home.
Yes.
Just imagine you have to do that every day because we're being pushed out.
Well, I'm just saying that they entered into the contract. So I got to figure all that out. And right now I haven't figured that out yet. And you all as a outstanding team that have it together can help me along the way to figure all this out, because it's going to take all of us to figure it out, because I just can't do it. I can't see how it's going to happen, but some of the responsibility of pay has got to be assigned to UGA, because it wasn't just the city of Athens. Okay.
And one little connecting piece to that, Ms. Hattie, is that you might remember that a component of the resolution had us sending a letter to all of our state representatives, to the governor, and to all of our federal representatives. And so I sent those letters last week.
Oh, thank you, Mayor.
Yep. So yeah, so I agree. It's and this is true in every community. From us to the other communities across the country that have tackled these questions, like Asheville and Syracuse, New York, and St. Paul, Minnesota. It's all a layered question where there's some level of local responsibility, but there's some state and some federal responsibility. So I've reached out to the governor, to our two senators, to our congressperson, state house members, and state reps.
Thank you. Thank you. And we can probably get some help and direction from them as well. And like I said, we probably get some help from UGA. They just have not come to the table yet, but maybe they will come in sometime in the future. Okay. Is there anything else we can? Do y'all agree that I can take these and put them to a subgroup and then come back and give it to you all, and then we can send it forward after that? We got to have another meeting, probably in the first part of April.
Well,
Yes.
I agree. This is Christine. I agree. And also with the someone helping you, you need someone who knows, how to do it. And as for me, I wouldn't know what to do. So I'm sure, some of the people will be able to help with that, because it is going to be tough trying to write that up and everything.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
on that note, I would love to help with this because this is basically what I do for my job anyway. So whatever you need for this stuff, I can help.
Put you down. you are down, so I will call on you and put you down so you can help put this together. And Jen, I drafted you. You don't know that. I just drafted you too, Jen.
I'm there.
Okay, because all this got to be written up and submitted back to the whole justice and memory team, and we want it in a way so the commissioner can understand it. So when we submit it to them, they can understand it. Okay.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, thank you for your hard work so far on scoping this out and presenting the categories and ideas. Thank you very much. It's really comprehensive and exciting to see this be developed and move forward.
Thank you. Okay. If there's nothing else, I'm going to reach out to Commissioner Parker, to get a meeting with the legal staff around affordable housing. So I just want to know that you all, the team members, know that piece could change depending upon what they say to me. So then we'll try to get everything else submitted next meeting, and we'll put percentages by it, allocate percentages up to 100%, and then we'll see how we're going to put UGA's amount aside. Okay.
Miss Hattie, I do want to mention to the group, as I mentioned to you in conversation earlier, that if anybody knows folks who lived across Baxter Street where Parkview Extension was built, or who lived in Lickskillet, or who lived in the Bottom, please, just be thinking and let me know, because I'm beginning to reach out to those people too. And so the more names that I can get and make some contact with, the better, just as I extend this work to the other neighborhoods that were eliminated in the same period.
I was going to tell you, Mayor, that I'm having some community, say, forums, if you want to speak, so to speak. And in those meetings, I'm going to reach out and say that we're trying to locate these people so they can come together. So I
Great.
want you to know that.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Ms. Hattie.
Yeah. We're supposed to be having these community forums the last of the month. Our first one's supposed to go the last of the month, so we can communicate with them about what the justice and memory team is working on, so everybody will know what we're working on, and try to get the facts out there, so the facts will get out there straight. It won't get misinformed or twisted in any way. Okay. Anything else? Well, thank you all. I'll see you early next month.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
I'll see you before then.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Nice meeting everybody.
Okay.
Stay safe.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Bobby.